part of the Empower project at Sheffield United Community Foundation, we actually provide sport and physical activity for LGBT plus people across the city, specifically 11 to 25-year-olds. So we work with a charity called Say It in the city, and I just wanted to kind of delve into that a little bit more with you and what you think the barriers are to participating for young people specifically, and kind of delve into the role model aspect of that a little bit more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's important because the fact that you're doing it with an age group from 11 to 25, I think that's like an important time where you're trying to get people active, but there are barriers to it. When you have young adults, young kids, technically, figuring it out and being a bit restricted. I think having access to be able to have that physical activity is really important. I don't think we speak about it enough. I think we focus a lot, on the social norms of, getting physical activity into kids, but there are some specific things that go on with it as well. So, I think it's really cool what you guys are doing, to be quite honest, because I don't think there's many things in place to give access to people in that community. So I think it's great what y'all are doing.
So I think just in terms of role models, then how can sport be kind of the pioneers for getting young people into different settings? So a lot of the sports we've done are actually not that mainstream. So we've done swimming, and we've hired the pool out for the young people. So I know you spoke about trans inclusion in sport and physical activity specifically, and I think it was definitely eye-opening for me in terms of actually what do we need to provide for trans people specifically to be able to participate, and actually that's the changing facilities, that's the pool itself, and actually implementing a uniform policy. We've done trampolining, and we've also done badminton, table tennis, and then the only kind of football experience these young people have had is coming to Bramall Lane, whether that be in the family hub and just playing some games and providing a safe space. So I think what more can football do to be more kind of welcoming specifically to LGBTQ plus people?
I think that's a great question. I think from both the women's game and the men's game is having more conversations about it. I think that's the first start, because I think in order to bring awareness to it, I think is really important. But we don't talk about it enough in football at all, and that's something that I've obviously realized. I don't think we talk about it enough in sports in general. The only time you really do hear about it is anything negative. I think we need to kind of flip the narrative on that and speak about the positivity within it. So I think first and foremost within football, both the men's and women's game is actually have a conversation about it, speak about it, bring awareness to it. And then from there, I think it's the inclusiveness, allowing trans athletes to be a part of sport, and football specifically, because that's the only way you're really going to get that inclusive, is actually include trans men and trans women, trans girls, trans boys into sport, and not make it such a big deal. Just, they're boys and girls, just like, and they just want to be a part of it. So first and foremost, I think having an open dialogue, an open conversation about it, and then actually including trans people into sport in general.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've definitely hit it on its head there. And for me, you spoke there about education, and that's another part of the arm of what we provide. We go into schools, we go into community organisations and provide education by using the power of the Sheffield United badge to be able to do that. So I guess my last question to you is about your experience at school. Like, I know when I was growing up, I didn't really know that it was okay to be gay, and now going into schools with all these young people who actually know that they're gay, or they want to identify as lesbian or bi, or they want to identify as trans, and all of the different kind of identifications across the LGBTQ plus space. Like, what do you think is different now about school to when you were at school?
That's such a great question, because I think back to when I was maybe between the ages of 11 to 14, 15, and not, it's like it was frowned upon, you know what I mean? I think the difference between now and back when I was growing up it's just generational. I think it's more accepting now. I think people are more accepting of kids being 12, 13, being like, I am gay or I am trans, and people just being okay with it. And I think there's been like an evolution of education over time in terms of bringing more and having more conversations about, kids knowing who they are quite early on. Because I think once upon a time, parents, I have a mom who's in her 60s, so so she's old school thinking, but, they used to think, oh, these kids don't know who they are at such a young age. They do though. That's the truth. They do, and I think that's the difference between when we were growing up compared to kids now. We have the platforms, we have the spaces for kids to just be themselves and be themselves openly, and know that there is no judgment, and know that they have a community to refer back to be able to ask questions. If there's anything confusing, they have a community to refer back to. And I wish that's what I had growing up. I really do, because it took me a while to come to terms with who I was. But now I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy with being in a relationship with a wonderful woman, and knowing that, the world still goes on, but I know who I am, and I'm happy to be who I am. And I just hope that kids nowadays can feel the same. I wish I didn't closet myself for the better part of 20 plus years, and I felt like I had to be someone that I wasn't. I am who I am now, and I'm proud of that. And so, that's what I think this next generation of kids are like. They know who they are early on, and they're proud of that. And that's exactly how it should be.